In this video, I'm going to share with you how I manifested $3,000 in one day when I didn't even know that manifestation was a thing. I actually had a little bit more, but that'll be in the story. And 5 takeaways for you so that you can know how you can best manifest money into your own life. Trust me, it's not what you think. And make sure you pay close attention to takeaway number 4, because in my opinion, it's the most important. But before I do, if we haven't met yet, my name's Nicolette Moore, and I love to empower entrepreneurs to step into their greatness. Now, back to the story. It was 2004. I was 20 years old. I had just left the bar scene. You see, I had been through an awful relationship, broken and abused. I felt worthless. I felt unlovable. I felt pure despair because I really didn't know what my value was. I was hanging out with people who just wanted to party, do drugs, get wasted. And yeah, I had fun doing it, but it was so empty for me. And all I wanted was deep connection and a place to belong. Through a series of events that we're not going to get into now, I came to a point of desperation, and I ended up reaching out to a girlfriend of mine that I had gone to church with in high school. She introduced me to this group we lovingly called the Cell Group. It was a Christian group of young adults, and they met once a week for Bible study, but hung out all the time. It was like family. It was probably one of the coolest communities I've ever come across in my life. Up to that point, I had never seen a group of people cooperate in life in that way. And ever since that time has passed, I've never seen it again. So it was a really special group of people that really drew me in. The first time I encountered them, I sobbed, and I felt so connected to the group and their purpose. They were young adults just like me, but they had a bigger mission in life. They wanted to serve Jesus, and they wanted to love each other and bring light into the world. And I just thought that was amazing, and that's what my heart needed at that moment. I was so broken, and I had been in such darkness. And so I clung to this group of people because I needed that. I needed that light, and I needed that love. It was a stark contrast to the group that I had been hanging with and partying with. When I met this group, I felt like I was at the end of myself. I felt like I was in pure despair. I was heartbroken. This cell group embraced me. They showed me compassion. They showed me acceptance, and they showed me what love without judgment really looked like. I was hooked, and I wanted more. Many of my new friends here had done different missionary work around the world, and I was just really fascinated with this idea of missionary service. I had heard of missionaries, but I didn't really know how to be a missionary or anything like that. They introduced me to this idea about being a missionary. And so I started to look into it because I thought, wow, that would be really cool to go out and be of service to people. I had nothing going for me. I was broke. I had dropped out of college because I was too interested in partying and wasting my life. So I was looking into how I could be a missionary and what that looked like. And I applied to work with several different organizations, and I ended up getting accepted into a missionary school. This story has a bunch of smaller, amazing, miraculous stories as subcomponents. We don't have time to get into it. If after you've heard this story and you're interested in all the little details and all the different little miracles that happen along the way, definitely message in the comments below and let me know that you want to hear those extra miracle stories. But for now, I'll keep with the money manifestation because I know that's why you're really here. So I ended up getting accepted into an organization. It's called YWAM, Youth with a Mission. And I was accepted into their school in New Zealand. It was a 6-month program, $6,000, going to New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji. I was so excited, but there was a big problem. The school I was accepted to was starting in 3 months' time. It required $6,000 to show up. You had to pay for your own airfare. That was in addition to the $6,000. And I had several $1,000s of credit card debt. I had no job, no steady income. I had a severed relationship with my parents at the time, so I didn't really have a mommy or daddy to go ask for money. So what did I do? I got to work. I started working anywhere anybody would have me. I would get money, save it aside, pay off my bills. I was working as hard as I could to make sure I'd be able to pay off my debt and have this money saved up. But I had 3 months to do this, and I was 20 years old, and I had no idea what I was doing. Now, to be fair, I did ask for help along the way, and I asked for recommendations. Where could I work? What could I do? I needed money, money, money. A friend of a friend of a friend of a friend ended up getting me into a position where I was working with a construction company, barely doing anything, making a lot of money. It was awesome. This little job in and of itself primarily covered all of my credit card debt. But remember, I only had 3 months to pay off my debt and save the $6,000 to be able to get to New Zealand and get airplane tickets. Now here's where the magic really started to happen. It was getting close. I had paid off my credit card debt with this construction job that I had. Awesome! That was super cool. But I was down to the last month, and I literally did not have any money for the trip. Somebody had gifted me an airplane ticket to New Zealand one way, and that was by using their miles that they didn't expect to travel anytime soon. They knew that it was for a good cause, so they gifted me those miles, so I was able to get a ticket from LA over to Auckland. Score. I still needed a ticket from my hometown to LA and a ticket back. Now, I was really down to the wire. Just a few weeks left, and I didn't know what I would do. I got in touch with the organization and I asked them, what do I do? I don't have any money, but I still want to go. And they said, just trust in God. We've seen miracles happen. And so that's what I did. Now, did I just sit on my hands? No, absolutely not. My girlfriend and I organized a fundraiser. So we put a small fundraiser together. I called all these different grocery stores at the last minute and I said, hey, I'm going to do a fundraiser. It's going to be in 2 days. Can I get some free supplies, please? Would you be willing to donate some supplies to me? And guess what? Most of them did. So I got a lot of free food and I was able to put together a lunch fundraiser at the local school campus for students passing by the local Methodist student campus building place. So I had all this food for po' boy plates, $5 a plate. And I was really praying that something good would come of that day because I still needed a lot of cash. I had my credit card debt paid off at this point. I had a ticket from LA to New Zealand at this point, but that's kind of where I was standing. There was a lot to do. This day was amazing. I remember the students trickling in. They'd come in, they'd buy the plate lunches, they'd go on their way. It wasn't a lot of students that came in. I was quite nervous throughout the day because I just saw the amount of food that was there, the few students that were coming and going. People were coming in. It just wasn't as amazing as I was hoping it would be. One thing my girlfriend and I did, shout out to Morgan, what's up Morgan? Every hour we would go up, we'd take the pot of cash that the students were leaving and we'd go and we'd count them. It's kind of like unnecessary, but we just wanted to see as the day progressed how much money we had. This was the coolest thing. Money literally was manifesting in this jar that we had. I don't know where the money came from. I had eyes on this thing. I didn't see people pulling out extra cash and putting it in the bucket. It just grew. By the end of that day, we had the $3,000 to be able to pay for the first 3 months of my trip in New Zealand. This is a true story. This really happened and this blew me away. I could not believe it, seeing this money just like appear. I'm sure I've heard of the word manifesting, but I didn't. At 20 years old, back in 2004, as a drunk school dropout, I hadn't manifesting, law of attraction, all these concepts were not in my world. I had no idea what they were about, none of that. And yet here I stand with money just doubling and tripling in front of me. The amount of food that I sold that day should not have covered $3,000. There's no way. So the fact that I had $3,000, I had the exact amount of money I needed for my first 3 months. I had my ticket to LA, from LA to Auckland, and I had my first 3 months covered. Wow, it's pretty amazing. Now after this, I was just in awe. I could not believe what had happened. I contacted the organization and I let them know, hey, I've got the first 3 months. It's covered, it's good, but I don't have the last 3. I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it. Is it okay? Can I still go? I mean, the last thing I would want is to be stuck in New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand is awesome, but that's not where my family or friends or anything, my world is not in New Zealand. So I wanted to make sure I would be okay. And they said, yeah, come on, let's move in faith. God is showing his hand of favor on you, so let's do this. So I did. I think my parents ended up covering the ticket from my hometown to LA. So that was cool. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And I land in Auckland. They had arranged a big pickup. There were lots of other students coming in from all over the world. And I spent my first 3 months in New Zealand in this missionary school where we'd go out and it was really cool. It was beautiful. Now, the 3 months was coming up and I still didn't have the money for the rest of the time. We had 3 more months and the last 3 months was when we were going to be doing some traveling. So we'd go to Australia for 3 weeks and then Fiji for 5 weeks and then back again to New Zealand for another month. And I didn't have the money to cover it. Well, this organization, the leadership was like, we're going to move in faith. We've seen miracles happen before. Just come along. So I essentially got to go on this adventure of a lifetime on faith and on credit. I didn't have the cash. I didn't have the money, but they allowed me to go. And you bet I went. So we explored and we did a lot of cool things. And man, I've got a bunch of sub-miracle stories I could share with you, but it was really incredible. Now, while all of this was going on, my girlfriend back home that had helped me with the fundraiser, she was still fundraising for me. She believed in me. She was working for me. She was awesome. And she managed to raise the additional money that was left over that was needed to cover the last 3 months of my trip. And she was able to get a round trip ticket herself so that she could come spend a week with me in New Zealand, traveling around after we graduated from this school, and spend some time with me overseas. Now, on the very last day, she's arrived. She's sleeping because she's super jet lagged. And the leadership of the organization gathers us together and says, hey, I want to make an announcement. First of all, congratulations. We've all made it through. Now, for those of you who have money owed, for those of you who have money owed, I've got a special announcement for you. An anonymous donor had decided to cover any remaining balance that anyone owed that was left on the trip. I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one that wasn't able to pay for all of it. That was mind-blowing. Here I am, really in awe and amazed that my girlfriend was, one, in New Zealand, two, had raised all the remainder balance that I needed to pay off this thing while I wasn't even around, and three, a donor had covered the cost for me, and we didn't even have to give the money that she had come with in order to depart. So now here we are, faced with a week of exploration in New Zealand, having $3,000 more than we expected. We were pretty stoked. Now, side note, we did still end up giving that money to the organization to pay it forward to any students in the future that came through that were in a similar situation. So we definitely didn't blow it traveling around New Zealand. We still had a modest, humble, but awesome experience traveling New Zealand. So this is not one, but several different situations in this one story of how money was manifested for me. And I didn't even know manifestation was a thing. So as I reflect on this story, here are 5 takeaways that I can share with you that really encompass what I went through, what I experienced, and really how you can take these takeaways and manifest money in your own life. Takeaway number 1, be all in. From the moment that I decided I would do this missionary school and have this experience, I was 100% focused on making that happen. I didn't go out and party anymore. I wasn't wasting my money. I wasn't building up any more credit card debt. I was 100% focused on getting my debt paid off, on working, doing whatever it would take to be able to take action and move towards that goal. Thinking of this with a law of attraction perspective, I was moving towards this goal that I had, and that goal that I had was actually moving towards me in ways that I couldn't understand, in ways that I couldn't imagine. So be all in. If you have something that you truly want to manifest in your life and something that you really want, be all in about it. If it requires money, your action moving toward it, that money will show up. Takeaway number 2, don't expect the expected. Don't try to control the outcome. Don't think that you know how it should play out. I definitely thought taking action would lead to bringing in the money that I needed for the trip. And yeah, it did, in ways I couldn't imagine, and I could not have controlled it. I was able to physically by myself, do the work that I needed to be able to pay off the debt, but it wasn't enough. There wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough effort. There wasn't enough hours in the day to be able to bring in the money I needed with my skill set at the time and my mindset at the time and what I had available to me. Nothing worked out the way I thought it would. I expected that by working hard, I'd be able to pay off my debt and save up all this money. What I failed to realize, because I had no idea about manifestation or law of attraction or any of that as I was moving towards what I wanted was moving towards me because of my focus on it, because of my wholehearted focus on it, and the money that was necessary in order to get me to my goal, to my destiny, to what I needed to do, was showing up for me. Takeaway number 3, be in awe of how things unfold. Don't most of your stories kind of play out a little bit differently than you expect? Be in awe of it. And that doesn't mean it's always positive. Sometimes things don't work out the way we expect and we take it so negatively. We think that a door closed, so then we're screwed. Well, you know what? We're not screwed. It's just the door is closed because a better one is the other way. We just don't expect it. Each step of the way through this journey, I was in awe. I was in awe of how everything was playing out. That doesn't mean I didn't have doubt. And that didn't mean that I didn't cry a time or two because I wasn't sure that this was going to happen. But I was in awe every step of the way. Every time there was a little nudge showing me that I was moving in the right direction, I was in awe and I just embraced it. I trusted in these little miracles that I had, these little mini miracles along the way. And then when big miracles like this came about, like the fundraiser $3,000 in one day miracle, that was pretty huge and pretty compelling. Those things made me just awe-inspired and trust my journey. Now, number 4, the fourth takeaway I have, I think is the most important one, but number 5, you got to pay attention to because it's as important, just in a different way. So takeaway number 4. You must believe in something greater than yourself and trust that that force is guiding you towards what you're trying to achieve, because trusting in your own strength will only set you up for failure. My spiritual journey has been a wild ride. At the time of this recording, it's been almost 15 years since I had this experience, and a lot has changed on my spiritual journey. I personally would not consider myself in the camp of Christians. However, I still believe in God, and I believe that God is guiding my life. In fact, I see it. It's tangible and it's all around me, and I have reminders of his hand on my life every single day. During this whole experience, I had so many doubts. I really did. I did doubt that it would work out. I had debt. I had nothing going for me. I had a severed relationship with my family. I didn't really know who to turn to. I was new in this cell group community. I didn't know that I had the potential to actually make it happen, but I trusted in God. I trusted in this force that's greater than myself. And in this process, even though I didn't really know what the law of attraction was, now looking back, I see that experience, along with so many other experiences in my life, proved to me the law of attraction is actually totally legit. Nothing hocus pocus about it. And this concept of the law of attraction is actually a gift from God. It's a force created by him. It's a law, one of his laws. And the way these things work tend to be so much more awesome. And when you look back on them in hindsight, you can see that there's no way that trusting in yourself and relying 100% on yourself would ever create these situations, these serendipitous, these coincidences, these amazing miracles that happen in our lives. There's no way you could force that to happen on your own. That's got to be a force that's greater than ourselves. And that's what I see happen in my experience. So takeaway number 5. Takeaway number 5 for me is the way to manifest money is to not think about the money. That's right. You heard me. It's not about the money. Nothing in my story was ever focused on money for the sake of money. Yes, money was a medium to be able to get me to where I needed to be able to pay the bills, to be able to facilitate the travel, the stay, being able to eat. All of those things require money. My journey, my experience was never about the money. I wasn't chasing after money for the sake of money. I was chasing after the experience. I desired this experience to be able to grow myself, to be able to contribute, to be able to learn how to serve and be a blessing to others. And I truly believe that whenever that's our mindset, then the money manifests in order to facilitate that, because God, the creator of the law of attraction, the law that he set in place to be able to bring things towards you as you move toward them, if you have a desire to inspire, and if you have a call that's greater than yourself, you're not just self-serving, you want to serve others. That's how I see that the money came to me. And it wasn't ever about the money. It was all about being in service to others and to be a light in the world. I believe the money just showed up as a reward from God in beautiful, unique, and crazy ways that I could have never conceived of on my own, because my drive was not for money. My drive was for service and the experience. Now, that's just one of my stories and one of my experiences manifesting money in my own life. I would love to know what has happened to you in your life where things have manifested that were just completely beautiful and unique, and experiences that you could have never conceived of on your own. I'd love to see them, to read them. Share in the comments below, because that would just be really cool and inspiring, not only for myself, but for everybody else who's going to read your story. Now, again, this happened when I was 20 years old. Had no idea what the law of attraction was. Had no idea what manifesting was. But looking back, this experience proves to me that those things are real, they're true, they're legit, and they're a blessing from God. But of course, in the midst of it, I couldn't see those things. So I want to encourage you, if you are in the middle of a situation where you need to manifest money, you need to manifest money for something, check your mindset, check your intentions, and check your heart. You're trying to manifest money, but are you all in? Are you all in and completely focused on what what it is that you're doing, the goal for the money. What is the money doing for you? Are you expecting the expected? Are you expecting things to work out exactly the way that you think they should? Or are you open to having the money manifest in your life in unique and creative and miraculous ways? You're wanting to manifest money, but are you in awe of your journey right now? Whatever situation you're in, if you're looking for money for something, for your business, for coaching, for a new house, a new car, whatever, can you take some time to just think about where you are right now? Think about situations of past, and can you be in awe for what you've been through and really grateful that you've been through the situations and kind of see how things are playing in your favor? I really encourage you to think about that and be in awe and be inspired with where you are right now. And are you trusting in a force greater than yourself, or are you putting all of the pressure on you to make these things happen? Do you expect money to manifest in your life because of you and everything about you? Or do you believe that there's a force greater than you that is guiding you through and will show up and will put that money in your bank account when you need it, for what you need it, as you need it? And just trust in that. And then are you just thinking about the money? Are you thinking about the experience? Are you thinking about the purpose behind why you need that money? I truly believe that once you align yourself with these things, that money will manifest into your life in really cool ways. And hopefully it'll leave you in awe and inspired to manifest more. Now, until we meet again, I want you to know I believe in you, your power to manifest money into your life, to do awesome things, and I ain't got nothing but love for you. Happy manifesting.